Okay guys, in the last session we did RSI compress, and today we are going to look more into that concept and see what happens when RSI compress is been developing into the stock in the daily time frame. What are the impacts on the weekly time frame? What are the impacts on the hourly time frame? And really how we can trade those compressions. Now, one thing you have to be very uh, very clear about that when RSI compression is taking place. Now, this is the daily chart of ONGC, and you see RSI compression is taking place at this level. That means the RSI is oscillating and it's into a range and it's not breaking the range. It's taking a place at the 60 levels at around 66 levels. Now, one thing you should be very aware of that when RSI compression takes place, the stock is already in an uptrend or is moving in an upward trajectory, right? Now, what we have to do, first of all, this is the swing trading technique. That means it is not a trend following technique because the stock is in an uptrend and it implies a correction. But when the correction is very deep, then it becomes a sorry, trend following technique. So basically, RSI compression will help you to pick up even minor tops and minor bottoms also. So it's a very important concept, and let us see the implication right now. So this is the daily chart of ONGC, and you can see the compression here around the 60 and 66 levels. One more thing I just wanted to bring to your notice is the stochastics. If you see the stochastics, I'll just draw the 80 overbought areas, and you see it's now failing to go to the overbought areas, right? And even if we come to our settings that we generally use is the 3 3 RSI, the 3 period SMA of the RSI, you will see it is also failing to go to the overbought areas. Now, this thing is a quite indication, a clear cut indication of a persisting weakness in the stock. Now, when it is the right time to short this stock and when it is the right time to take a position in this stock. But let us see when we are having a compression on the daily time frame, what are the implications on the weekly time frame. So, I just switch on to the weekly time frame. The week is still on. There are two trading sessions, but again, if you see, there is a what you can notice anything. I suppose if you're not noticing anything, well, I just bring it to your notice. There is a negative reversal information on the weekly time frame, but a negative reversal is a bit extended here, but there is a negative reversal formation. Number one. Number two, there is a resistance at the 60 level also. Now, there is a resistance at the daily chart, there is a resistance on the weekly chart. So we can just make an type of consideration that this is a very strong resistance. But in the bullish market, as everybody knows, resistance are going to break. There is no this thing. Now this is the early chart. I have switched to the early chart, and you will see that the stock has been in a very tight range, a type of rectangle type of range, and it has been using the resistance and support to move up and down. Now, also on the early chart, we are at a support now because this is the 40 levels, and here we have the 50 SMA. So, how we plan entry now? Two time frames are showing resistance and one time frame is showing support. So, we have to wait for the supports to give off on the hourly charts. So, if you are not following hourly charts, then we will follow the daily charts, and you see there is a support on 200-day SMA at 155 levels. Now, we will wait for this support to be broken, and then it may come down to the next support level, that is at 146 levels. So, this is the way you can really take entry into the swing entry into this type of setup, and this type of setup may have larger implication. If this support at 146 is broken, it may go down also. Now there was another compression in IOC also, same type of setting. So the oil marketing companies are, running into this type of resistance or compression as we see. So you can notice the same setup here. If you see this here, the same compression here from the last few weeks, of last few days rather, and now we switch to the weekly chart, and you see almost the same thing. You will see there is a range shift here. It is taking, not a range shift exactly, it is taking resistance at the 60 levels, and on the early charts you will see it has already broken down very badly, right. So it may come and test 151 on the early charts. So it's a swing type of trading opportunity that you get in this type of compression settings. Now as we have discussed bank nifty compression, let us look at the bank nifty chart. So we discussed the bank nifty we have discussed the bank nifty compression on the hourly charts, and you can see the bank nifty has started to roll down, but it's at the support. Now let us wait for the support to be broken. So 29,900 and 28,660, these are the two support areas. If it breaks, you can see on the hourly charts the 3 SMA of the RSI 3 is not been able to cross the 80 mark, and then you see there is a range shift also and resistance on the moving averages. But you have to bring everything together what you have learned till now to apply. Whenever you see a setup, it's not that you will go and trade based on the same setup. You have to draw a case, right? When you are sitting with a stock to trade, just think that you are taking the stock to the court, right. You're fighting against the stock in the court. You have to draw evidences to satisfy your view, right. But the evidences should be true evidences, and evidences should be such that you win the case most of the time. So that will be the sign of a successful lawyer, and this is the sign of a successful trader, that whenever you see a setup, just try to mix and match with it with the other setups and evidences that you see, and that will satisfy your trade. But never forget that this is a market, right. The stock market never listens to you, it will never listen to anybody. You are destined to fail in the markets. Losses cannot be avoided in the market. Now let us look at Nifty chart, and let's see what the Nifty, how the Nifty may behave today. So again you see what I see is a divergence here. It's just a general discussion, and there is the this thing also. The SMA 3 is struggling to get above the 80 levels. Now this may give you a little bit hint on the weakness, and then we have this engulfing pattern here, but still it is above the 5 EMA and the 10 EMA. So the 5 EMA, 10 EMA, as I told you, they are very good support and resistance level. They are very good trailing stop level. They are very good entry triggers. They are very good exit triggers. So we'll be up with a video on these two EMAs. Right, it's very important EMA, and so this was the thing on the daily charts. Now if it breaks 1100 and 600 on the daily charts, then the targets are little bit deep here, right, following the EMAs. Now let's switch to the hourly charts, and hourly charts you see the same pattern as we saw on the bank nifty. Basically there is a range shift here, and even on the hourly charts the EMA is not able to, the 3 SMA is not able to get above the 80 levels, right. And on the weekly chart it is quite strong right now. So weekly chart is not but yes, there is a, we are at a resistance on the weekly chart. So this was the Nifty. Now let us see one more thing. On the early chart, we have an support at 1100 630 and 1100 550, and there is also a gap area here. So it may come and act as a support. right? So this is Nifty. You can track it today, how it behaves, right, and see how it works. Now, one more thing I can just tell you: when you see this compression type of setup, this compression type of setup is a very good setup for trading options, because the moves that follows the compression is a very strong move, and when you are at a compression, the volatility is very low, right? Whenever you will check any compression setups on a chart, the volatility or the Vega Greek is very low, because we are into a sideways market and we are into a sideways trajectory. The volatility is not that great, but when it starts to go down and when the compression succeeds and the prices starts to move down, the volatility starts to increase. So what happens? You have the delta in your favor and you have the Vega in your favor. So the option prices start rising more phenomenally, right? So this is the type of trade you can really take in options. But this is not an options class, right? And I cannot give you more brief on the options thing. But yes, it is getting weaker, and you can see there is a crossover of the EMA SMA. So keep tracking it, and always remember one thing, that the analysis can go wrong anytime. It is the money management that we have to do. So until and unless it is not moving above this point, that is the recent highs, the Nifty may be running into a consolidation or a correction pattern. And looking at the banking stocks, maximum, especially I looked at this SBI. Sorry, I have a bad throat. SBI, we got this engulfing pattern, but again we have to see and make a note that it is near the support of the 5 SMA, EMA, sorry, and the 10 EMA. So let us see what SBI does. And still the indicators are not giving any indication of any weakness, because there is no divergence at all. And on the, yes, but on the early chart, you could have really made out. Now, if you are sitting with the early chart, you can have really made out that this is taking resistance at the 3 SMA levels, so it may have corrected, right? So I will be attaching the compression sheet today, that was not been able to attach yesterday. And what we have discussed today is ONGC, IOC, and Nifty, and this SBI. So keep a track on this, guys, and next session we will come up with a new thing, the divergence, because I am not seeing any divergence, good divergence in any stock in which I can really discuss the divergence thing. And also do look at the recordings of the live session where we discussed how to pick up stocks for investment purpose, basically on the monthly time frame using RSI. So this was it, guys, for today, and trade well. This is Bharat Junjunwala signing off. Bye bye.